All right, we have some major breaking news. The Trump administration got caught once again executing an illegal and unlawful deportation in the United States. I want to be very clear. Not every single deportation is illegal or unlawful. You can give somebody due process and fine through the proper channels that they need to be removed from the country. That is not what the Trump administration is doing. They are directly violating federal court orders, and they have done this repeatedly. We'll break that down in 1 second, but first, let's check out this video just to help lay the groundwork.
Breaking news, because this just happened a couple hours ago. The Supreme Court ruled, and it is going to allow Trump and his administration to strip the humanitarian parole of 500,000 people from 4 countries. A protection that was in place to keep them from being deported is being stripped, and it is going to result in at least 500,000 people being deported who come from 4 countries. Do you want to guess what one of those countries is? The very first one listed? Cuba.
Before he even lists the rest, can I remind you that Trump is making an explicit, unique exemption for white farmers from South Africa while removing refugee status, removing temporary protected status, and stripping student visas away from anybody who's vaguely brown. Sorry, to continue.
Donald Trump and his administration are revoking the protection of thousands of Cubans. Without that protection, those Cubans do not have legal asylum in the United States. And the Trump administration is going to deport thousands of Cubans and send them back to Cuba. They told you that Barack Obama was Fidel. They told you that Hillary Clinton was Fidel. They told you that Bernie Sanders was Fidel. They told you that Joe Biden was Fidel. They told you that Kamala Harris was Fidel. And you believed them. And now, Donald Trump, who needed your vote to get elected, is going to deport Cubans back to Cuba. Myself and others said this would happen, but I'm not here to say I told you so. I'm not here to celebrate this. My heart is broken. I'm a white boy, but I'm from Florida, and I have spent so much of my life around wonderful Cuban people. I have fallen in love with your food and your music and your culture. And then I watched a political party in my country weaponize very legitimate, real fears that you have and lie to you and tell you that if you didn't vote for them, what happened in Cuba would happen to you here.
It's absolutely heartbreaking. Check out this clip.
Give me my husband back. Like, I just came and just took my husband from my house.
Amy Phan's husband, Wee Phan, has been in immigration custody for the last month. The couple has 2 kids, aged 11 and 3.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
My 3-year-old's just like, he just asked where daddy is. Like, where's daddy? Like, he's not used to daddy not being here.
Amy is American. Wee came to the U.S. as a refugee after the Vietnam War.
He moved here with his aunt. He tried to get citizenship, just like normal people. Everybody in his family was granted citizenship by him. And the reason that his paperwork actually states that the reason that they didn't give him citizenship was simply based on the fact that he wasn't the son of his aunt that came here with him.
Wee is among thousands of former refugees from the Vietnam War being targeted for removal because of prior criminal convictions. As a teenager, Wee went to prison in Georgia for a robbery that left a man dead. Wee told USA Today, "I know I did something wrong, yes, but I already paid for my time. I did my time. I paid for all that. I'm still getting detained."
I'm petrified. If they're going to send him to Vietnam, we'll be happy to just go ahead and leave, because at this point, I'm afraid to stay. I'm afraid to stay.
So this brings me on to a completely separate story. This brings me on to the story of a man named Jordan Alexander Melgar Samarone. He was deported to El Salvador again after a federal court had explicitly ordered a stay on his removal. And now the Trump admin is making these very slippery, very illegal arguments. And it's kind of worrisome. It's incredibly worrisome. A federal appeals panel ordered officials not to deport a 31-year-old man to El Salvador. Minutes later, it happened anyway. The government then blamed administrative errors. This is wild. This is infuriating, and this is intentional. The Trump administration is intentionally violating court orders minutes after they were ordered and then claiming, whoops, we didn't know. They're playing this game of heads I win, tails you lose, where they remove your ability for due process, they put you on a plane, and then after a court says that you need to be brought back, they say, well, it's too late, tails you lose. We can't actually do anything about that. But just listen to the circumstances of this story. A federal appeals panel ordered officials not to deport him. Minutes later, it happened. The Trump admin deported the 31-year-old man minutes after the court had barred his removal. The government said they admitted in a court filing. And I dug up the court filing. You can see on the first page, they blame it again on administrative errors. They say, quote, and as those responses reflect, a confluence of administrative errors led to petitioner's removal on May 7th at approximately 10:20 a.m. We'll read this in a little bit, but to continue. In its filing, the government denied that it had violated the order from the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit in New York, instead blaming, quote, a confluence of administrative errors. The filing argues that because the process of deporting the man, Jordan Melgar Samarone, had already started before the court issued its formal order, that meant the order had not been violated. Again, it's heads I win, tails you lose. Let's be very precise here. The Second Circuit Court of Appeals granted him a stay of removal at 9:52 a.m. The Department of Homeland Security received that 16 minutes later at 10:08 a.m. Then they removed him 12 minutes later at 10:20 a.m. This is a timeline that has been corroborated by multiple sources and documents. The plane took off 12 minutes after they had received the stay. So in a staggering letter to the court, the DOJ actually admits the removal happened due to what they call a quote-unquote confluence of administrative errors. But if you read between the lines and through the dozens of pages that ICE agents wrote up and the DOJ wrote up, it's insane. You can see the pattern of systemic neglect for court orders and constitutional protections. The Due Process Clause, which is granted in both the Fifth Amendment and the 14th Amendment, give you the right to life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, all of these things without being, just arrested, thrown on a plane, and thrown out of the country. The plane carrying Mr. Melgar to El Salvador did not take off until 10:20 a.m., but the court order was issued at 9:52 a.m. Let me highlight these key times so you can see, boom, right here. The government had also previously given the court what the judges called, quote, express assurance that it would not schedule a deportation for him until the next day. The deportation deepened the questions surrounding the Trump admin's legal tactics and administrative errors, is what they call it, as they carry out the president's aggressive vision of deporting as many as 1 million immigrants during his first year. And I guess that means blatantly violating the law, blatantly violating the rights of not only immigrants, but citizens, people who were born here. We know that Trump is trying to remove birthright citizenship via executive order just to keep the Supreme Court busy or whatever. But the scary thing is that immigration as a whole has decreased. Tourism has decreased. The amount of people who want to come here and study has decreased. This all falls into the bucket of immigration, and it is all just decreasing rapidly. Even people from Canada don't want to visit the United States now. I don't know why. It might be because of our dumb orange president, but I'm going to leave it at that. If you appreciate the videos I make sure you drop a like and subscribe. I want to give a quick moment of gratitude to every single person who spends even a second with me on a daily basis to help push back against the MAGA movement after we kind of took a loss. And after a loss, we pick up the pieces, we piece them back together, and we will win again. I keep getting comments like this one. Adam, I've been watching since 200,000 subs and just realized that I wasn't subscribed. Fixing that now. So subscribe. See you all in the next one. Peace out.